What is the better way? Fleeing the pain or having to tolerate the pain all the time? Hello, my name is Albert Emanuel. I'm a heart power and pain-free coach, and today I would like to just talk a little bit about becoming pain-free. I'm just having to check because the sun just came up how to position myself so you guys actually see my face a little better. Yeah, so basically I'm here in La Palma, in the Canary Islands, and I'm super happy because our nonprofit organization Alela Yoga, which is dedicated to pain-free living in the individual, the partnership, the family, and the community, has an awesome training ground here. So here, being self-sufficient, being off-grid, being with the family, being really in nature, is a long tradition, over 70 years, I would say. They started, or let's say they started in the 60s, 70s already, and so the culture of being here and actually living your life in a very self also self-directed manner is basically is part of the island already. And of course the volcano and the sea and all the elements here do very much give you the opportunity to to get lessons, and these lessons can also of course be painful. So the first illusion that I would like to disrupt a little is, if you live off grid, if you live in nature, if you live basically the life of somebody who has had it in in the old system, who was surrounded by stress and pain, does not become painless. There is no painless life, I think. This is an illusion, but the pain, the quality of pain, can be completely different. And we all know how it feels, how our bodies ache when we have trained yoga, martial arts, dance, or any other kind of sports that kind of pushed our limits, and left us flooded in the end with endorphins. However, we still feel the afterglow on the next day, and there is a certain aching, and this is pain we associate with something very positive. However, we do constantly also get challenged with pain that puts us into phases of immobilization, like a lumbago. And we found out in the Alela work, because we do a lot of pain relief therapies, massages, that trying to avoid pain is usually neither in the therapy nor in the training the right way to do it. Usually we tend to the human organism tends to avoid pain. We don't want to feel it because it makes us immobile, it makes us less active, it makes us less in our reptile brain survivable. The truth of the matter is, in order to bring us back into balance, we need to find the source of the pain. And usually the source of the pain lies in the soul. Especially with lumbago patients, we have seen lots and lots of components where actually conflicts in the partnership, conflicts in the family, also conflicts maybe in business, or with partners, have business partners have caused a stress in the nervous system that was overloaded in a movement, in a movement without awareness, and created this click in the system that completely cramped the fascia and the muscular system, so that the body was really immobile for a certain amount of time. This is kind of a timeout that the intelligence of the body gives you, because it sees there's the stress level is too high. If you would go on like that, you would get seriously damaged. So what do? We kind of create this program of maximum cramping of muscles to really bring you down in the activity, so that you are absolutely, you cannot move on. However, in order to solve this problem, is not necessarily to completely go into a state of complete restfulness, because then the cramps usually get worse and worse. So uh, the way we deal with it is we try to source out the points of pain, um, the pain source, and we press them. We actually embrace the pain. We say, okay, this pain is important. It needs to be really felt in the body in a controlled way. And at the same time, after each pressing, which is like a certain, yeah, I would say a feeling of being at the border of almost not unbearable, yeah, and this border and this point of border where you feel like I cannot take it anymore, right a little below it, you stay and you hold this pain pressure point. Yeah, very similar to many lomi lomi schools. There is a very sophisticated pain relief school called Liebsche and Bracht in Germany. They work with the same principle. They call it osteopressure. So they are actually pressing certain points on the on the skeleton system that are connected then to fascia and to muscular connection. So these points get pressed, and then there is a kind of an overload of this pain information in the body, and when you then release it, usually the whole system stops and goes down with the cramps. And this is what you want in order to give the body the possibility to fully heal. However, if the component to the psychology, to the soul, is not put into good relationship, and not at least put into consciousness, if you are not aware of what is the real source of this body cramp, of this body pain, then you will be triggered by the same component again, and you will fall into it. Usually, very often, we've seen that after the first treatment, the the wellness factor goes up like immensely, so people can again walk. They think they are healed, but on the next day it falls back, because very possibly um, on the level of the psyche, this root problem has not been addressed, has actually been avoided. And so the importance of also diving into those emotional topics is something that needs to be addressed, not only through physical training and physical awareness of where is this emotional problem blocked in my body, but also addressing it with the partner, the environment, the things that are working in our conscious and subconscious. And for that, the Alela method of the training in settings, where every now and then we also train with our family members, we also train with our brothers and sisters, and also with the people in our community where we might have conflicts, and where we create circles where we can actually start dealing with them in the full knowledge that it's not the fault of the other why I am in this state of mind or in this state of body. It is me reacting to something that has not yet been healed. And the partner can be mirror and ideally also actor in a scenario where things can become balanced again. Of course, if I'm in conflict with my partner, especially with my romantic partner, the wanting and the willingness to go into this process are very low, which is really why it is so hard to create very good parship programs that kind of continue in the family, because the power struggle, that reptilian power struggle of I'm the right and I have more to say and my pain is more important than yours, is always there. That we unfortunately haven't yet mastered that. So having a setting with coaches where this can be addressed, ideally in a playful manner, which is why we are so keen in the research of good games that allow us to train to feel pain, but also feel relief of pain, and ideally also to mess up a little the structure of the family, so that sometimes also the kids can become and play the role of mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy can change and become the kids in a like in a theater setting, and then turn it back again, so that also um, each one can see where the pain of the other is and how much it is actually what a big job it is actually to manage a family. How will the kids ever understand how much sacrifice the parents are giving to their kids if they haven't yet been in that position, and how hard it is if the kids or the family does not play along? One of our hardest pain issues that we have as family, as community, is that somebody or two or three people have a plan. They know what is necessary, what is important, but the team just doesn't want to play along because we are very typical creatures of saving energy, and we don't want to work hard every day. We don't want to work hard, period, in our reptile brain. Our look at watch the animals, they save energy wherever they can. They don't need to run. They run because they have to. And of course, in the on the long run, we all know that an active body is unhealthy as a healthy body. But our survival instincts will not agree with that. They will say, if I don't have to run, if I don't have to fight, I will not waste the energy, because life can be demanding, and nothing teaches you that better than a volcano island like La Palma. Here, the people have actually seen that there are many, many years of hard work, of putting hard work into their houses, into their gardens, into their existence, has been wiped away twice. Once with a volcano, with the lava actually completely covering everything in ash, and then with a fire. So there is no guarantee that our hard work will kind of sustain us forever. And we also see it very similarly in the crisis of the world economics now. Many companies that have been built with with sweat and blood are just blown away because the financial the financial structures are now in the typical catastrophe where everything falls down, also because many of our financial systems have not this natural renewal cycle that in nature happens, where after every winter the spring comes back again. After every fire, the green comes back again. What we are seeing here is already the miracle of nature itself. Even 2 years, 3 years ago, there was this fire. Now everything is green again. Nature has this ability to regenerate and regenerate. Many of our financial systems have not built in this necessary crash and so this necessary devaluation of money, so it becomes something that is kind of that comes artificially, and it is very unnatural. It is very, created with, as we know, with a lot of also political crisis that needs to be done in order to balance that artificial money system out. I mean, if you look at it from very, very high cosmically, you can see that it has very similar principles, but many of them are man run and not nature run. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that nature doesn't provide you with pain, as we see it here in this very example. You are, as an off-grid family, very much surrounded by painful experiences, be it now the weather, be it the yeah the less fruitful years, be it the very painful things that we get in family through our relationships, through our unhealed wounds, and the partners that are constantly basically triggering that. Only very, very, very advanced souls that know that everything that is painful in me is just generated through me and my evaluation, and the partners are just, giving us the necessary input for us to heal that, are the ones that are on the path of real deep development and growth. However, we cannot deny our animal instincts, and every now and then, and also a family needs to re-establish their little storming phases, where aggression against each other, if it is done healthily, if it is done like really very similar like in a wolf pack, where the alpha growls and really kind of says, you are in the wrong place, go over there, so that the structure of who is in what place is reestablished, is not something that we say is something bad. It is very natural, and if it is played out well, so that it is very clear, and it is not, a conflict that is under the surface all the time, but that it is, an explosion that happens fast, quite strong, very basically over the top, so that it, you know, completely disrupts the toxic patterns that have been established in the family, or in the structure of the family, and then the hierarchy is reestablished again, is something that is actually quite helpful. However, if not, if the pain of all the other members that are kind of beneath that alpha, beneath that one that has the strongest willpower and the strongest voice and the strongest form of expressing it, are not also seen, then we kind of develop those long-term traumas that are passed on to our family, which nobody wants. So we are also very, especially in the alternative scene, we are very aware of that. We don't want to inflict too much aggression on our kids, on our partner, on each other, and every now and then it doesn't work like that. We have to erupt. We fall into our old patterns, and then we feel very, very sorry, and usually this then triggers another cycle of either that the one who feels sorry gets the aggression back, so we are kind of again in this power struggle. I had to, burst out, but the pain that I caused then gets reflected, is mirrored to me when I come and try to make amends. Yeah, very, very often between woman and man, the man erupts, the woman kind of feels drawn back, feels evaluated. When he then wants to make up, or he wants to, feel love again, he's rejected, which triggers another pattern. So we are in this constant pattern triggers that, if we are not dealing it with these consciously, and with certain tools that in the Alela yoga are specifically developed in order to have something to break these cycles, to on the one side uh, not say no to the biological structures of family, which in the natural way, in the biological way, is hierarchy. There is a hierarchy in theirs. There is an alpha in every situation of competence. You will see that with a family, it can very often then, especially when the kids start developing more and more skills and confidence and competence, sometimes even the kids can become leaders in certain groups. But all in all, the family usually is run by the one who has the strongest willpower. In our times, it's getting more and more the women, and this is definitely very natural, because usually the wolf mother is the one who's basically running the show, and the wolf father is the one who's getting the prey. um, but we should still be aware of it, that we are not only animals, we are also human beings, and with the biological structures, there should always be an awareness of what is there to be healed, because there is always an yeah, the process of the victims slash beta slash gamma, the ones who are, always put down, they develop long-term pain, and this needs to be seen. It needs to be nourished in a good way, without changing the position, because this again disrupts the structure. So, what we're trying to do in the Alela trainings also for family, and we are trying to do this very much on a research base, is to find rituals, especially games, where the family can actually really feel each other, can see, also physically see, where are the structures of strength and willpower, and at the same time, where can we every now and then also change these roles in a theater setting, in a let's play mommy and daddy now. Let's play the one who does the work, and the one who just goes on the nerves of the other, who does not play along. A huge pain issue. The one who wants to create a nice evening or a nice excursion, and everybody else is like, hey, I don't want to, and this whiny miney mode. And this is also super painful. But if she can play the other side, and play the role of the ones who are usually always dragging things into demotivation, then first of all, it's very liberating, and then second, the other members of the family get to know what it means to be the one who runs the show, what it means to be king. We often use the game of the king in the group, where in a group somebody declares himself king and asks for a wish to be fulfilled, and the others have to actually play this out. And the more the family actually plays this with everybody, and so that everyone actually has the opportunity, also wants to have their wish fulfilled, which is a super important thing also in partnership, where we just want our partner pleased to once show a different kind of behavior, which is not natural, but it would help the soul, the inner child, in a game setting, in a theater setting, where we say, okay, we kind of, do this as our investment in our partnership. You might very well be able to have that capacity to play that role for the queen, even though we are in a power struggle, and we just hate to be the servant of the other in everyday life. in this theater setting, we can do it, we can play it out. And if we keep doing this on a regular basis and one serves the wishes of the other, like really devotedly, as without having to fight for it, on the long run, these inner child wounds can be healed. They can constantly be overwritten. This needs an awful lot of discipline, and usually the family itself, if it is not trained, can hardly put the discipline into motion. This usually needs coaches, like we are building it now in the Alela nonprofit organization, with our education, to become like a trainer, family and community coach, who hold the space, who are like always there at the same time, at the same place, ideally in a setting of 3 or 4 weeks with the family. They come to the place. They are, establishing a little extra space within the family space, and then the family has the opportunity to train there regularly, and there's always program happening. We see also that this, if there is just a bunch of people who are, having fun, um, and they are there no matter what, it doesn't, the others don't have to be so disciplined anymore. So there is a possibility to be late and to come in and just listen with it half ear, like many kids do. You can create spaces of knowledge, where you don't have to crack the whip all the time, but a certain group, um, they hold this place of discipline, and things are starting to move. Of course, if the sabotage programs come, and the kids or somebody else is like working against this, then you have to be very clear, and then there has to be also very clear no. Then in this case you cannot participate, and people have to leave the training ground if they are constantly pushing against it, which is usually something that is connected with pain. But sometimes these pain programs are so powerful that they sabotage everything. And this is where the coach and the coach teams have to be also very clear and strict. This is not tolerated. This is behavior that is not tolerated. So you can leave the training space and come in later, while the others hold space in the playful field. And what we've seen, is that when you constantly keep holding these spaces, the knowledge gets transferred no matter what, even to the people who are temporarily excluded, because they were, in this process of I have to sabotage this. This also goes into homeschooling. So if you have like a few people who are in the fields, let us say, of mathematics, and the mathematics field is played out, danced out, there is poetry written, there is numerology, there is all kinds of exciting topics going on, and you go through the whole field of mathematics, the kids not necessarily have to attend all the time. They don't have to play. They don't have to write everything. They get it en passant. They play whatever they do, but the grown-ups have so much fun in their field that this knowledge is transferred, and then you can test who got stuff, basically, what kind of stayed and what kind of knowledge stayed. And you would be surprised how much the people who kind of seem to be just listening with half a ear actually completely digested the material. And this is also a huge wish that we have with the Alela program, also to establish these kind of, or to support these kind of free schools, free school learnings. But that's stuff that also is happening in the family that has work to do, and is combined with what the everyday life is, so that we don't have to constantly outsource, but also can do a lot within. But that very often requires this team of people who really get to know the terrain, get to know what the routines of each members are, and then create something that is fitting into the setting, but at the same time also create some extra knowledge and extra growth. So this is definitely not always easy, not always possible. Sometimes you have to outsource and be in a different building and be somewhere else, like the school programs are. This is also where you start becoming more and more placent with the idea how our societies developed. That the outsourcing of school also was a relief for many, especially for the people who were working most of the time. And then throughout the development, we saw that this actually became more and more toxic for the families, because there was the father working in the office, the mother working in another office, the kids being in school, actually disrupted this natural biological flow, which is necessary also for a family to actually become ideally that team that can hold space for a company. Like many real good family companies have been actually establishing, so that actually the son then actually can then step into the shoes of the father, or somebody who is like the son can become the successor. And we don't want to say that this is the only way, but we feel that many things that through society sociological distraction, I would say, that so many institutions have been taking over the management of life, of family, want to be reinstitutionalized, so that the family structure can start that it can start gripping again, so that the family ideally can start become um, like a band, like making music together, being able to do art together, being able to train together, being able to educate themselves. We feel that this is a very, very important component of being human. And through the dehumanization of our technological societies, this needs to be offered and trained as a very important alternative, not necessarily as the absolute new way. We do not believe that um, uh, real knowledge comes out only through looking through one perspective. We want, in the Alela method, we want to look at all perspectives, even the uh, the the benefits that technology brings us. I mean, look at me. I'm recording a video for YouTube, so I will eventually want you guys to watch this. So I cannot say that internet or anything that we have technological is wrong. But the pain that society falls into if it's over if it's over technologized, um, I feel is bigger or creates more distress than the pain that comes from labor in nature and dealing with our family issues one on one. So ideally, we have this connection where the family structures in the natural environment can be trained and strengthened, but for the stressful work, we still use technology like watering, like a water plant system, like the knowledge that we can gain through YouTube tutorials, um, even everything that is medicinally now developed, that goes into pain relief temporarily, everything that helps the natural the natural way of life, in the sense of how we deal with pain and suffering, so that it is basically done by our bodies and our souls, um, without much help, is ideal. Sometimes, however, we need the painkillers. Sometimes we maybe even will need technology that actually enters our body and does certain surgical operations within. I'm not saying that this is all wrong. This is very possibly a very great help for humankind. But if it is used to strengthen humankind and the natural living and sources of living, it is ideal, if it is there to control and ideal and in the worst case to submit and transhumanize, then we say with the Alela philosophy clearly no to it. We basically say that there is nothing that we need to take in to make our life better. No medicine, no vaccines, not even in the highest form, not even food. If you are like really on the yogic path, the possibility of going without food for a certain amount of time because you are so fulfilled with the interaction of you, the world, and your social network that is on the same path is possibly something very logical and natural. If everything runs in balance, you don't need much. This is what you also see here. If the weather is fine, if we are doing great work and interact socially, that we are constantly nourishing ourselves, we don't need much food. What we have, we can grow ourselves, and then basically it is this what we call this the Garden Eden is basically reestablished. We all know, however, this is very often something very temporarily, so we eventually will need technology every now and then, especially here when there is a dry season, in order to uphold certain biological and natural processes. Who knows, with a certain amount of awareness, conscious, and development with us and our families. And this is where I see the source of a functional family being much more than just, procreation. There is, I feel, a source of power and creational space where, especially if the kids have this possibility to develop all their psychic abilities, might very well also at a certain uh, percentage of critical mass, um, where we actually create a climate on all levels, climate within us, climate around us, also climate of knowledge, where ideally the developments of technology and biology come together. This is what they call bionics. The first master, or the first alpha, if you so want, um, who should kind of lead in this assumption, in this collaboration, for me, should be the the resources that we have with our soul to connect to nature and to connect to our natural environment. This is the skill which I feel wants to be developed on the most, just in which should have the best strength and basically cure all their pain, all their sufferings within themselves. This is like the ideal, what you also kind of read in the Anastasia books. However, in order to get there, we should have all kinds of tools available. Ideally, first body and mind tools, then technology tools, until the medicinal tools that ideally have one goal and one goal only: to have this full aware human being, the human being that knows itself, through the eyes of its partner, that knows itself through the eyes of its kids, and that knows itself through the eyes of its community and company. So this was it, about pain, suffering, and the dealing of it in community, and what Alela also stands for. If you are interested in our work, please contact us, leave a comment below also in how you deal with pain and suffering in your communities, and give us a thumbs up. And whenever you need support in your communities and in your projects, please contact us also, because this is exactly what we want to yeah, procreate for the next 10 and 20 years. So let's live our life happily together here is already somebody who is in desperate need of attention. So I'll leave you to it. All the best.